this video, we're going to be interviewing a seven-figure e-commerce expert, and we're going to be asking them questions all about the YouTube advertising platform, because I truly believe that a lot of e-commerce entrepreneurs are not using the YouTube ad platform when it's an unsaturated and highly profitable platform to be using. And because all the other platforms are now getting saturated, there's not a better platform than YouTube to go to also use. And I thought there's nobody better to interview than Ricky Hayes, who's a multiple seven-figure e-commerce expert, and he absolutely loves YouTube ads. So I thought, let's ask him all the questions we need to ask him about YouTube ads, so you guys can get a better understanding of it, and you guys can decide if it's a good platform for you or not. Now, if you want to see more videos like this on the channel where we interview experts, let me know in the comment section below.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you all. Yeah, as Kamil said, my name is Ricky Hayes. I've been doing dropshipping now for just over 3 years. And over that time, I've generated over $10 million in sales through my stores, and have my own YouTube channel and teach people online how to build stores, how to make money online through various forms of e-commerce, dropshipping, Facebook ads, Google ads, so on and so forth. So I've been doing it for a long time, very much enjoy it, and it's a pleasure to be here, Kamil.
Why did you start using YouTube ads?
Pretty much because, in my opinion, YouTube ads is what Facebook is on steroids, if you ask me, because basically it has the power of like social media, but also with the added bonus of search engine on top of it. So you can, because most people on YouTube search for the videos, whatever they're looking for. So people searching for that, but you're also making videos that are very similar to Facebook. So it's very easy to get videos from Facebook onto YouTube, and they actually convert higher. And the biggest thing obviously is that it's very unsaturated compared to Facebook. So you can get very, very good results very comfortably. And over time, it's a very stable platform as opposed to Facebook, where it's very up and down.
So you would say, Ricky, that YouTube is more consistent than Facebook. And if we go a little bit more in depth with it, you know how you get ad account bans and policy bans, would you say YouTube is less?
Because YouTube is just basically a placement in the Google network. It gets to a point where it's just consistent. So you don't have to worry about all your campaigns. And as you said, the biggest thing is ad account suspensions on Google. Very, very rarely happens unless you do something astronomical. Most of the time, instead of getting an ad account suspension, you'll pretty much just get like your ad will be disapproved and you'll just need to change it. So the way it should be, you actually get that, and you actually have good support too, which to me is very important.
How much money do you need to test products using YouTube ads, and what's a good budget to have when coming into the YouTube ad platform?
So I always say, like with anything, when running ads, you need at least, personally, I think $1,000. If I were to start, to be optimistic, $100 minimum, because you got to get some data and give it some time. After that $100, you'll have enough data, you should have some sales, and you can start optimizing your campaign. So $1,000 optimally, $100 would be minimum to get a good start.
Beautiful. Now, in comparison with Facebook, let's say when you're testing a product on Facebook, you're spending $50 a day, $30 a day on a CBO campaign. What would the comparison be on YouTube in terms of daily spend and stuff like that?
Yeah, so if we were to say $100 a day collectively, I'd be running 4 campaigns at $25 each. So you run multiple campaigns sort of using similar but different starting strategies at $25 a day. And personally, I would leave them for at least a week to get some tangible data.
Now, in terms of result-based, do you think Facebook in the testing phase of things gives you results quicker, or do you think YouTube gives you the results quicker?
Personally, Facebook does get you results quicker in my experience, but Google gets, or YouTube, sorry, I'm just saying Google, YouTube gets you better results more consistently down the line. So, so it's very much, you have to stick to your guns type approach, unfortunately, with YouTube ads. But if you do, you'll be very much rewarded very quickly once you do.
So when people come into this YouTube ad platform, they've got to think more of the long term, not the short term. So a lot of people with the industry like to test products, give it a few days and call it quits. With YouTube, it's not about giving it a few days, it's about giving it potentially a few weeks, right?
Personally, I actually recommend to people that you should start with Facebook ads, get it to a point, try some things, and then at the same point start adding YouTube in, so that you're not just sitting around thinking nothing's happening, that things are happening. That's sort of how I perceive it anyway.
Perfect. So what are some of the ROAS, return on ad spend, are you achieving with some of the YouTube ad campaigns you've got going at the moment?
Generally, I'm sort of sitting at scale, at least hundreds of dollars a day, at 3 to 4 is sort of what I believe, and that's with, to be perfectly honest with you, with an average order value of about $45. So about a 3 or 4. YouTube has its shortcomings too, admittedly, too, where it can just go astronomical. But generally, yes. The reason being is that if you do it slowly and gradually, you find that your profits are consistent every day. So you end up finding that overall YouTube does do you better. You just have to, unfortunately, get to that point. That's the hard part.
Question I've got for you is, does YouTube ads work similar to Facebook ads?
Obviously, it is different. I can't deny to people that learning Google, because as I said, you pretty much have to learn Google, really. It does have a steeper learning curve, but it is very similar. Basically, I actually find running a YouTube ad easier than running Facebook now, because you just literally upload a video, added in a call to action button, a headline, and target some people, and away you go. It's actually much easier, in my opinion, than Facebook, because I don't have to make like 20 campaigns a day. I make a few campaigns, leave them for a number of weeks, and walk away and focus on other parts of business, in my opinion.
Yeah, so in terms of the optimization, it's not as intensive as Facebook, where you're always having to play around.
The thing that I love the most about YouTube is more that the changes that you do are long lasting. So, you do a change today, and it's not like then tomorrow you have to come back and revisit that. You pretty much do that change and you leave it, and you can just focus elsewhere.
Are YouTube ads saturated at the moment?
Not at all. There's a growing demand for YouTube ads, no doubt, as Facebook becomes so very saturated as a whole. But if you compare it to Facebook, it's like 1 to 2% of what the amount of marketing is on Facebook. So completely unsaturated platform with hugely high CTRs, very cheap CPCs. And it's just a matter of time. Like I'll run a new campaign and I'll get comfortably a 5 to 6% CTR consistently with like 30-cent clicks. In my opinion, that's just, you don't get that near as easy on Facebook.
When do you think YouTube will become saturated? How many years would you give it?
I would say it would be 2, 3, 4 years at minimum. The reason I say that is because you sort of touched on it yourself, that Facebook is the go-to point for most people because it's that much easier. I always say to people, the harder something is, the less people do it, the more beneficial it is for you, because it means that you're going to have more market share. So I personally don't see it ever getting saturated for many years, because it's just the learning curve is much harder than Facebook.
What don't you like about YouTube ads? Because we've been talking about a lot of positive things. You know how Facebook's got its negatives, which is ad account bans, policy bans, all that kind of stuff. What would you say the YouTube ad downsides are?
A lot more knowledge up front, for one. To know how to structure your campaigns and the Google Ads dashboard and how that all works. Significantly harder learning curve than Facebook, for one.
So you would say the barrier to entry is so much higher.
What could take you a day on Facebook will probably take you a good few weeks to learn comfortably in Google. So it would be, YouTube. 2, as I said, understanding the bidding strategies, basically. I won't get too much into that, but that can be very important. And 3, for most people, it's the investment you need up front. As I said, $100 is the minimum, but for YouTube, because it is a very long-term strategy, you could be spending hundreds upon hundreds of dollars and get very few conversions, and it looks like money's just going out the door, but you're getting this valuable data. But in the early stages, it can be very capital intensive, if I'm perfectly honest. So those would be my main drawbacks.
Yeah, I've always said to people, it's more expensive testing on YouTube, but when you scale, it becomes cheaper, I believe. And that's what I've personally.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. So, that's the biggest downsides with YouTube, in my opinion.
You touched on it a little bit then. I don't want to go over it too much, but for those that do manual bidding on Facebook, would you say it's very similar to the bidding on YouTube?
It's just a different, like what they call bidding strategy, but it's Google primarily is either keywords or the bidding strategy. So if you have done a lot of manual bidding on Facebook and understand that, you'll pretty comfortably understand Google. It's just understanding how it's different to Facebook, but fundamentally it's very similar.
So what's better for scaling, Facebook or YouTube? So if you had a winning product and you could only pick either YouTube or Facebook to scale it, which one would you pick?
I would choose YouTube personally, because I know I can get much larger margins. I have a lot more control. And personally, this is just my opinion, I can sleep well at night, knowing that knowing that the next day that all of a sudden my campaign's like, I might be a 3 ROAS today, and tomorrow on Facebook I might be a 1. With Google, or YouTube, sorry, you do that sort of flat line, and you end up sort of nearly achieving that every day. So to me, it's actually just a good night's sleep.
That's a good way of putting it. What is the future of YouTube ads? Like, where do you see the future going with the platform?
Well, it's going to be monetized in a lot more. Like, as we know, it's mainly monetized a lot by people selling courses and stuff. But for e-commerce, it's very unsaturated. Google, especially because, with the pandemic, has accelerated companies into really pushing into e-commerce media buying space a lot more. So we're going to see Google, or YouTube, sorry, is going to be providing a lot more options to try and help people with their YouTube ads for e-commerce, which I think is going to be great. They're going to try and improve the algorithms so that in the early stages, you can get much better results similar to Facebook, and then scale with a lot more ease in the long run as well. So that's sort of where I see it. As I said, like, we are going to start to see a bit more competition creep in, but we're also going to see that Google or YouTube's going to provide a lot more flexibility with how you can do your marketing to try and negate that increased competition. Sorry.
People are saying, do you think Google or Facebook will be which platform will be the first to use AI technology for campaigns and ads and whatnot? Do you see YouTube being the one to do it first?
Probably already pretty close to getting that. And that's mainly because of the nature of the platform. Having a search engine is far more powerful than social media, where you're basically targeting someone that likes something. Whereas on Google, you're letting them basically come to you because they're typing in a keyword. They're showing that interest, that intent. So as a result, it's much easier to build a bot around that because you have a lot more consistency, a lot more stronger baseline. So I would definitely say that would be Google, YouTube.
If people are interested in YouTube ads, where would you say is the best place to learn YouTube ads with a decent amount of skill?
Truthfully, I would just check out my channel. I think I've got a playlist. I haven't checked recently, but yeah, I just have a playlist. Or truthfully, just go on YouTube itself and just type in YouTube ads strategy, and you'll find there are a number of videos out there. So, but as I said, if you want to start, you can just check out my channel. I've got a number of videos there that give you a pretty strong foundation, so you can go out there and comfortably do some testing yourself.
Yeah, I can comfortably say and vouch for Ricky's knowledge with the YouTube ads, and his free content that he's got. The playlist for the YouTube ads is a great place to start if you want to learn. I've also got Ricky's course, which is also amazing. And he's also got a little part in there about YouTube ads. Now, as you guys know, I don't really like courses. I don't agree with them, but I must say Ricky's is the only course that I can say wholeheartedly is worth the investment. So I'd say start with his free playlist. If you like it, I'd definitely recommend going into his paid YouTube ad course, because it is definitely worth the money. I personally used it myself and I've learned a lot from it. So Ricky, thank you so much for coming on today and answering those questions.